Dinosaurs connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I'm the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah! What's up? It's your boy Joe, baby.
And to my other right, coming in at 178 adamantium-filled pounds, hailing straight out of Krakoa, Alfonso Westman Flores.
Oh my stars and garters.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights, this will be a spoiler-filled discussion of the Marvels, starring the one and only super talented Brie Larson and a cast of hundreds. Therefore, there will be stars and garters discussed in this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. What's up, gentlemen? Welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah.
So, like I said, in this episode, we're going to be discussing the Marvels movie. We're going to be talking about the box office. This movie is already being called one of the lowest performing movies in the history of the MCU. And I guess that means they don't consider Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. But, because it's all canon now, it's all canon ever since Loki. So we're going to jump into it. We're going to talk about if we were excited about it, what we liked about the movie, what we disliked about it, and just share it with all of you. I'll start off. I love this movie. I was excited about it when it was going to come out. Thursday, the first showing, I got to sit there and watch the movie with a completely empty movie theater Thursday. It was awesome. So I watched it, and it was everything I expected and more. I wasn't expecting a great movie, but I thought it wasn't as bad as Joe told me every time I texted him when I watched the trailer, because I watch a lot of movies, and they played that trailer all the time. Like, I wasn't tired of seeing the trailer, but I was like, my God, are they going to stop showing this trailer? I was excited for the movie, so I was excited to watch it by myself on Thursday. I was excited to watch it in an empty theater on Sunday, and finally there was 5 or 6 people when I watched it again today. Alfonso, I know you saw it. Tell me, were you excited when you walked through the door to watch it?
Dude, I was so excited to see this. Okay, first of all, to name the Marvels, and it's like all this like speculation of what's going to happen. Of course, my big hope was Rogue was going to show up at the end and still, Captain Marvel's power. There was talks that maybe Jean Grey might be in it because she's Marvel girl. So, I mean, the whole thing I was super excited for, mainly because watching Miss Marvel, Iman Vellani, she's so charismatic. She portrays the excitement like so perfectly. Everything about the way her acting is, like, she doesn't overact like some kid actors do. She's just like, she's so real to me, like her reactions are so real. And she just has so much heart and spirit. I was super excited to see her. In my opinion, she stole the show.
It's interesting because you just took one word and described what I've been thinking about Iman Vellani for a long time, ever since I saw her in Ms. Marvel, which is she is very charismatic, and she can steal a scene, she can steal a show. And that is one of the things that I really enjoyed about watching this movie. Now let's turn it over to the man who didn't go into this movie with a lot of excitement, even though I screenshotted him every positive review I could find. Like every single one. Joe.
She's not a kid. She's 21. She looks like a kid, but she's 21.
That's how they do it in Marvel.
Yeah. It was a fun movie. I mean, after like the last few Marvel movies that came out, I actually walked out and me and my son said it was actually an enjoyable movie. It was fun. I guess if you're not Marvel, is it really Marvel fatigue, or is it just they haven't been putting out fun, good movies? I mean, to be honest, I think if the movie is good, like you could say it's Marvel fatigue, but you throw Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans in the next movie, they're going to go watch it. So it's I don't know if it's really, you know, Marvel fatigue more so than bad writing.
Mhm.
But like the villain wasn't that good, but the villain, if you look at it as a plot device of where they are trying to get to, she did her job. She's not, I mean, there hasn't been like a dope villain since Thanos, to be honest. I mean, the God Killer and Thor was pretty dope, but they didn't do anything with that.
Mhm.
There's really not too many more villains. And they try to do something with Kang, and you can. And have you both finished Loki?
Well, yes, I have spoilers for Loki as well.
Have you
So,
seen that out? Okay, good. So I mean, there we'll get, because I think this is going to tie into the further discussion about this movie. But I enjoyed the movie a lot. The What kind of like ruined it for me a little, well, not really ruined it, because it wasn't the ones that I was really looking forward to your point, Alan. But I saw a TikTok where they said the interview where Kevin Feige said they're thinking about bringing a character that they haven't used the correct way and before in the past. As far as X-Men, you start to think it has to be Beast, because I
mhm.
felt like they could do so much better with Beast because he was such instrumental.
Mhm.
And then I think on TikTok I saw like he was doing an interview. Um, I don't even know his name. Kelsey Grammer was
Okay.
doing an interview, and they were talking about how he hasn't been. I was like screwed up real quick because they had little details like sometimes where I screwed up. I was like, shoot, man, that means Beast is going to be at the end. You know what I mean? And then sure
Yeah.
enough, you go and you watch it, and they're in a hospital. Or not a hospital, but like they're in the X-Men house at the bottom of the little mini clinic. But yeah, the way that it ended, to your point, because I remember you said that, Alan. The way the way it ended is what Alfie has been screaming for the whole time,
Yeah.
which is the Young Avengers. And I kept saying we don't need that, but apparently they're going to do it. And then the end with the whole incursions thing, and we can go in deep about that. I want to know you guys' opinion on the incursions thing, but the incursions of the possibility of X-Men versus this. I'm gonna bring questions to you guys, and we can just talk about it. X-Men versus the Avengers. They could go that way. One,
Mhm.
two, the incursions, which is gonna that could lead, because Marvel likes to do quick stories together into one. So they
Mhm.
could do an incursions with the Avengers versus X-Men, which is that universe. Is it the X-Men from the Deadpool? It's another question, you guys. I want you guys to talk about and your opinions about that. And then of course the Loki thing, like where does he stand? Because now he's not king. And I'm wondering, did they do that because they let go of Majors?
Yeah.
So now they redid that ending. So now he's out of the picture because they basically just took King out of there, which is where they can still call it King Dynasty. So I don't know how they're going to do with that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, King doesn't have to look like John in the Majors. He can be anybody. When you're dealing with alternate realities, one flap of a butterfly's wing, next thing you know, you're some white guy, or you're you're all of a sudden an Aztec warrior with the name of Sin Namor. Because they could do so much with it. There's no reason why he has to be that. Even in the comics, like the Ancient One, Victor Timely. I mean, they were all different people. Even like Young King, where he was Iron Lad. So
Mhm.
I gotta tell you though, I mean, I'm so stoked about like Iman Vellani being able to like. She's like, I got an idea. she takes Nick Fury's little thing, and she's like, she does the whole thing, and she's sitting in the room waiting for Kate Bishop to show up. Man, she's another good. Her performance was amazing as well. So like those
Yeah.
two to start it off really filled my heart. With a lot of excitement. You know, I would say, Joe, you're right. The bad writing did lead to Marvel fatigue. I think hand in hand they were working well together. And I was always trying to maintain hope, and I'm really excited about the direction they're going, because even the incursions, the multiple timelines, the Young Avengers, the X-Men, it's all right there. But then they're talking about, well, maybe we might have to scrap some stuff and bring back Iron Man and Captain America. So hopefully they don't just like scrap everything and throw them in. It's like sprinkle them in. They can join the mix. It's going to make it bigger and better, bigger, stronger, faster. Oh,
Higher, stronger, faster.
dang.
Wow, Joe brought up some really good questions. So let me see if I can keep these together. Young Avengers don't care, don't want the Young Avengers, could care less about the Young Avengers. It's just going to dilute and pollute the overall Avengers story. Disney Plus shows are hot trash, and because those Disney Plus shows are hot trash, it's kind of like, how can I put it? That's one of the things that caused hero fatigue. It was like we are going to these movies and we're supposed to say to ourselves like I was talking to someone and they were like, the problem with Multiverse of Madness was for the first 5-10 minutes I had no idea why Scarlet Witch was doing what she was doing because I didn't watch the WandaVision show. And I was like, you're right. Because I was like, we don't have to watch the shows. And I was like, straight out of the gate, you don't understand Wanda's motivation if you don't watch that show. It becomes very abstract, right? And so looking at that, it's led to the whole Marvel downfall. And I don't see them making a Young Avengers movie because no one wants to see a movie with the Young Avengers. So they'll make it a show. And they got too many shows and they're boring. So no, I don't care about Young Avengers. Now Incursions, I feel like Incursions are the way to go. And I feel like Deadpool, to Joe's point, is going to be the linchpin for all of this. Because they're going to acknowledge that the Fox universe still exists to some extent. If Binary and Monica Rambeau are both in that universe, it allows for that to tie into Loki with the Incursions because Loki's oh, Loki fixed everything. But what if what Loki did by creating the Tree of Life, as they say, or changing the overall formulation of the timelines, because you see they're all kind of wrapped together, that could actually create the Incursions. So I feel like because by killing He Who Remains and saying like, oh, I'm going outside of time, I really think He Who Remains thought that that's what would ultimately happen, which is why he kept trying to reset to his timeline. So listen to me ramble. But yeah, Incursions are coming. I feel like this is all tying in. No kid Avengers. Alfonso?
What if they because she did start a group in the comic. It's called Champions.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could do that. I think if they were going to do something with Miss Marvel and her Champions or Avengers, to your point, I think it's perfect for them to do it on the TV series
Mm-hmm.
that deals with like smaller type of crimes. Because if I remember correctly, like Miss Marvel started that group because she felt like the Avengers and then wouldn't tackle the smaller issues, which I think this would be perfect for that little crew to do the small issues, because I don't think they can do big world threats, in my opinion. But what do you also think about because I've been hearing stuff about they're replacing all the Infinity Stones with people. So
That's
like
dumb.
Loki's like the Time Stone, Wanda's the Reality Stone, and then I think Monica Rambeau's the Blue Stone. I can't remember the names of them, but
Yeah.
you get the point. Like they're the ones that are going to come together to stop King. I guess I don't know.
That's stupid. It's
Yeah.
like how many times I think Joe said this before. Like, I don't know, you date someone and then you come back and you date them again. It's like we've already gone through the Infinity Stones. You
Mhm.
don't have to now say, "Oh, it's new Infinity Stones," but it's people. Just stop. Just
Yeah.
stop. Move
They're trying to
on.
rekindle because like you've been hearing they signed Robert Downey Jr. He said he's down to make a movie again.
Yeah.
So he's coming back. It's so bad. I think the biggest mistake Marvel ever did was killing off two of the main people that they didn't have any backup plan. Like it's funny because Fahey and everybody goes to this camp and they do a little 10-year plan or whatever they want to do. But the plan after the killing of Robert Downey Jr. and then Chris Evans dying, whatever plan they had after that was just stupid and it didn't work. And now it's like what Donald said. You did everything you can only to come right back to me. And that's what happened, dude.
Dude, there was no plan. We went through we went through all of phase 4 and now we're in phase 5 and there is absolutely no plan. Kang did not relate to Kang Quantumania, or excuse me, Ant Man Quantumania did not relate to Loki. Nothing in Phase 4, none of the shows have tied in to Loki or Kang or Quantumania. And even when they throw that little Easter egg in at the end of Loki, where they're like, there was a Kang in 616, but they took care of it. Really? With a bunch of ants? This is our big universal threat that's supposed to have not one, but two Avengers movies around him, and Ant-Man took him out with some ants and a karate chop? That's what we're doing? There was no plan.
Yeah, I think Kane should have got away,
Yeah.
and I think that's the biggest mistake because the bright point of that whole movie was Kang. I mean, Majors was good at it. I mean, the whole bright point is this Kang scene, and if they would have done it right, he could have been created as a big bad. Like if this dude's popping through different realities in the multiverse, you would think like the TV shows that they were creating, like he'd be some way responsible for some of the stuff that's going on. To set it up. Like they set up Thanos so well as this. If you never read a comic and you were just watching the Marvel movies, the way they set up Thanos to be the big bad, it was done very well. So when he came in, you're like, man, this guy's gonna kick butt.
Yeah.
They didn't do that with Kang. Like don't get me wrong, dude. Ant Man can do certain things, but you really Ant Man, to your point, ants. So it's like the dude. And then they say if this guy's supposed to be the guy who remains, if he's that smart, he didn't think about something that can defeat ants. So it's you know what I mean, dude. So it's like I don't know, man. What are you gonna do, man? Like he couldn't think of some, to your point, how to be a big rage can. You know what I mean? Like a can that spits out like nothing but raid everywhere. I just don't get it.
Yeah, the more that you think about it, if remember, and this happened, I want to say in Infinity War, when Thanos beat Hulk, that was like, dang. That kind of showed that he's not only like a mental threat, but he's also a physical threat. Now, we've gone a complete phase, and Kang has done nothing but lose. He lost to Ant Man. Victor Timely is nothing but a bumbling buffoon. And He Who Remains got beat by Loki. And there's supposed to be a Kang dynasty. When are we going to do that U-turn? So like to Joe's point, Thanos, from the moment he popped on at the end credits and said, "I'll do it myself," you were like, dang. Like that right there, as menacing as he was, as good as Jonathan Major is as an actor, they haven't done anything like that. And just those words, "I'll do it myself," boom, you were ready to see Thanos.
Yeah. It's like I do want to come to the defense of like the Marvel shows. I mean, they did start strong. Like we were all invested in the Hawkeye at the beginning, and it was like we were talking big big stuff about it. It was going places. No, you don't remember that. All right, go back and listen to the episode.
Episode 5. All of us thought that was one of the best
I'm
episodes
gonna say one thing.
until
Stephen Bonner,
6. Yeah,
WandaVision.
until 6, 7, and 8.
No.
We did.
WandaVision. No. Okay, the first movie was, or the first show was WandaVision, and we were all hyped up on it. And then they threw in a freaking punchline when Quicksilver was just some dude, some actor. That was the start. That's what they gave us in the first series, right?
Yeah.
And as hyped as we were on episode 5, at the end of Hawkeye, weren't we all like, meh?
Yeah, like after episode 5, 6, 7, and 8 was like, well, was it 5 or 6? Because 6 was okay, and then 7 and 8 was just like,
Well, Miss Marvel didn't disappoint, and I think she did a really good job leading right into the Marvels. And I got to tell you, speaking of disappointing Disney Plus shows, what is it? The Secret Invasion. Man, Nick Fury did more in 5 minutes in this movie than he did in that entire Secret Invasion. That was Nick Fury I wanted to see, man. He was kicking butt, So it's the way it should be. Yeah, he's an old man, but he doesn't forget his moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's everything. It's so weird because I feel like I was in a forum today or a group or something like that, and people were complaining about the movie, and I was like, the things you're saying sound like people who've never seen it. And I feel like all these people who are like, "Oh, the movie wasn't good." It's like, but number one, what are you comparing it to? If you're comparing it to Phase 1, okay, those movies were better. But if you compare, not even all of Phase 1, because in my opinion, The Marvels is a better movie than Captain Marvel. And The Marvels is a better movie than a lot of Phase 1. So to say, like, oh, this isn't a good movie, compared to what? And to Alfonso's point, getting back on track, put the train back on the track, Secret Invasion was hot garbage, but Nick Fury in this movie, he was funny. He was shooting scrolls, and I guess he didn't shoot any scrolls. Spoiler alert. He was shooting Kree. He was a badass. He was using flurkins as like a weapon of mass destruction. This was a badass Nick Fury. I love Nick Fury in this movie.
Dude, I got to tell you, when I saw those eggs all over the ship, I swear I thought it was the Brood. I was like, oh, the Brood's coming, the Brood's coming. And I was like tapping my friend on the shoulder, and it turned out to be a bunch of more Flurgins, whatever they are. But it was cool. It was cool. I thought that was a pretty decent plot device. Yeah, you got to save all these people, but we don't have enough escape pods. Oh, put them in a cat. You know, they carry two or three people each. It's easier to put a bunch of them in one escape pod. So that worked out well. It was something new, something different we hadn't seen before. Um, and then when it comes to, like, people and they're complaining about things, I mean, it's too easy for somebody to see something on TikTok or YouTube, and they're like, or Instagram, and they're like, oh wow, that sounds really smart. I like that idea. I'm going to use that argument. And it's like, then they start spitting that like it's biblical knowledge. And it's like, come on, you guys got to have a brain of your own. Watch the movie, make your decision on your own. You don't have to take everybody's, bias on this. It's like there are movies that you guys like that you guys don't like that I like often, and then there's movies that I don't like that you guys don't like, or vice versa. So everybody's got an opinion, and the truth of the matter is you got to be able to rely on your own. You can be like me and find enjoyment anywhere and be super forgiving about everything, or you can be a little more scrutinous. You can you can just tear things apart left and right. But all in all, I mean, why not have fun with it?
Yeah, and this movie was absolutely fun. I felt like every actress and every actor in this movie went in there having fun. I feel like there was one part of the movie that I felt like derailed the movie a little bit, which was the musical portion, but not to the point. It's like someone walked in and said, "Hey guys, this isn't working." Boom. They just stopped it. And I thought that was good because it wasn't really working for me, but it didn't, because like there was no callbacks to it where like later on, they started singing again later. They did it and all of a sudden it was done, and that was cool. I mean, that definitely worked for me. But other than that, and even that, it was fun. It's like, hey, let's try something different. But the big thing about this movie is it was fun.
Yeah, I like the fact that the people couldn't understand them when they were talking, because it's like, oh, they can't understand your dialect. Oh, don't worry, he's bilingual, so he gets
Yes.
it.
Dude, I enjoyed that part. Like, I thought it was different. It was new. It was refreshing. Because, every planet, it's like you're on a planet where you have to sing to communicate. That's the language. And like, if you could sing, you could speak it. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought, when she said, oh, he's bilingual, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, dude. She ain't no Amber Heard, bro. Can you get over yourselves, you nerdy dudes? Go take a shower and get out of your little nerdy, stubborn, selfish, I hate women era. It's like, bro, like Brie Larson was good in this movie, though, and I think she's fine. So I mean, every time I see her interviews that she does, it's enjoyable. Like, when your personality, I just think she gets a lot of hate, and more than she deserves, in my opinion, because she's actually a good actress. She's fun. I don't know if you saw that interview where she was talking about her best friend Samuel L. Jackson,
No.
Well, when
and
she
saying
put him,
like they're like best friends, and then she says like, for you, my second favorite person, I'll do it. And she's like, who's your first? And he goes, me, of course. So it's like you could tell the relationship. I think the reason why, because if they're really best friends in real life, it translates to them together filming, and I think that's why that Nick Fury seems a little more fun,
Mhm.
and because that's their actual relationship, the way they talk to each other in real life, and it's transitioned to that. So I mean, I can see why this Nick Fury is a little bit different, a little bit better. He's doing another movie with his friend.
Yeah.
Shit, if we all were doing a movie together, bro, I like to think hey, you guys are kind of different in those movies together than you are by yourself.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
Definitely.
Alfonso stopping to talk to everybody.
Yeah, that would be true.
Yeah, true that. Get over here.
Alfonso, stay
Get
on
over
script. Stay on
here.
script.
Talk about wrangling cats.
Yeah.
You know, one person that I thought is going to be overlooked, but I just thought she was amazing, is the actress who was Kamala's mom.
Oh, she's so great.
Yeah, like she kept the whole thing, like, even though I thought that Kamala had a really human tone, I felt like you felt that family, like that, like, wow, this Kamala's still a teenager and she's still in peril and her family's going to care about her, and it's just not like, oh, we're the Avengers and we're going to run off and I'm Peter Parker, I'm swinging around and I'm like pretending I'm an adult. No, she was still a kid and her family still cared about her, and her mom did a great job of conveying that. So I thought that she's definitely an actress that can't be overlooked in this movie.
Yeah, I think the mom and the dad and the brother. To your point, that just the overall chemistry is good. Like I
Really
think everybody in this movie, the chemistry was good. I didn't think there was anything like, I can see why people get upset with the villain. I can see why people get upset with the brief. This is what Captain Marvel has been doing. See, like to your point, Alan, you said, do I have to watch or the Marvel, Captain Marvel, the first movie to understand this one? They did like a brief synopsis, like
Mm-hmm.
a Wikipedia, I would say, of what happened to the point, the whole movie. So you don't really have to watch that. And a lot of people didn't like that, which I'm okay with it. It's no big deal. When was the last time Miss Marvel's movie came out? Or, what I mean, Captain Marvel? It's like a
Yeah,
long time ago, man.
yeah,
So, I mean, I get it, dude, but I think this is the first movie where you finally know where they're going, and they had some type. This is the direction we're gonna go. So two cut scenes at the end of the movie, and then the post credit. This is where we're going. Is for me a better sign of Marvel. They understand what they need to do to get back on track. And I think the next movie is Deadpool. And there's nothing
oh,
they've canceled a lot of other movies, or pushed them back. So it's like you don't even know what's gonna be after Deadpool.
yeah.
I gotta tell you, like one thing that like really got to me is like it had a lot of heart was when Monica was like she got out of that memory thing and she was like freaking out because she saw her mom die and she was all sad and like Kamal like just right away just go over and hugs her because you know how like sometimes adults are a little too standoffish, like they need a hug but I'm not gonna hug them because it's so like she hugs her and like they're crying together. She looks over and she grabs Captain Marvel, brings her in, dude. That was really touching. That was really touching because it's like you see it a lot. You see it a lot in real life, especially as men. Men don't want to, get up in there and hold each other. It's like I'll hold you guys. Don't worry.
So I'll expect hugs from Alfonso when I need him.
But, it pays off too because the relationship, the tension of like she said, I just needed you back. I didn't care what you're called or who you became or what happened. You said you're going to come back. You didn't come back. So I think the relationship with those three together pays off at the end when Rambo was stuck in a different reality. You know what I mean? You could see it hits,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's good writing. I mean, it's fun, it's
Yeah.
entertaining. I mean, I enjoyed this movie a lot compared to like the last few stuff that they came out with. And there wasn't even that much action. I mean, there was some action in there. There wasn't no outlandish scenes or anything like that. Where you're
Uh,
just like, wow, that was some good stuff. But
yeah.
I was okay with it with what they did.
Well, I really like the way that they would flip back in place and time, back and forth, and then they were like, "Well, we got to be able to use this to our advantage." And they did a little training montage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I'm a big fan of classic '80 movies, where there's always some kind of training montage, like Revenge of the Nerds, whatever, and they got it down pat to where they could utilize it as a strength. It was their weakness, and they're going to be able to utilize it as a strength. And they did. They used it to their advantage until like emotion got involved and it went a little awry, but they were able to pull it back together, man. I really like that. It's just it just had the movie had so much heart. I mean, I can't say that enough.
The second time I saw it and Monica got trapped in the alternate reality, that actually hit a lot harder because I realized like they built a team, they got their family back together as far as Monica and Carol, and within the course of like a few hours it all gets ripped away from Carol and Monica. And it was like, dang. And you could, when Kamala stepped off the ship, you could see like she was really anxious, like she was hurt, and she's excited she sees her family, but she's also looking like, I'm the one who's going to have to tell Nick Fury that Monica's gone. And I felt like the relationship between Monica and Nick Fury, you could tell it was stronger than just like, Nick Fury and a standard Shield or Saber agent. So it hit like really hard. Like when he took the time to go to those two members of Saber, and he's like, "Well, how's it going?" And they're like, "Oh, the planets are back together, and we sent some people over to Hala." And he's like, "No, that's not what I was talking about." That's like, whoa, that hits real hard because you could tell all this procedural stuff didn't matter. He cared about a member of his family. So that was, dude, this movie, as I'm thinking about it, it's so good.
My son's like, "Hey, Dad, why did she close reality from the inside when she can do it from the outside?" And I'm like, if she does it that way, there's no story. There's no incursion. You know what I mean? It just gave me a look like, man, I'm on Sunday. Have to do that. Otherwise, you don't see the X-Men. You have to do it that way.
She couldn't pull it. She had to go behind and push it. It's like a car trying to push a car up, pull a car up.
Nah,
No,
she was closing it, bro. Like
Well,
if you seen the things, it was closing like this.
Yeah.
She could have easily have done it from the other side. But I get why they do that because you got to have the movie.
Oh, of
Or
course.
I mean, but it's just funny how like he walks out and he thinks like us. Well, why did they do that?
And the fact that her her mom shows up in the other reality as binary, which was another Carol Danvers persona after she woke up from being like put in a coma from Rogue. That was really cool because it's like even in what the other what was that, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, you had her as Captain Marvel. So it's like she in other realities is the Captain Marvel. So in that universe, who knows? Maybe that's exactly how it went, where she went from being Captain Marvel to binary. It's not necessarily the same one that they saw in the incursion, but to hear Kelsey Grammer's voice and to see the Beast portrayed so well with CGI, it was awesome. Because Kelsey Grammer, he's a little up there in age. He's not going to be performing all that. There's nothing wrong with doing that in CGI. He's a blue furry beast. You know what I mean? And right now in the comics, Beast is kind of dropping the ball with his moralities and stuff. So he's got a lot of hate. So I'm excited to see what the X-Men community says about him coming forth in this movie and how they handle it. Because like right now, it's like the Beast is kind of like that burn everybody's side.
Alfonso, can you take about 1 minute and for the purposes of the ladies, gentlemen, and knights, can you educate us on who Binary is, how she got her powers?
Well, it's funny because I remember her from the Starjammers, which is like they're space pirates, that work with and against Lalandra and her Shi'ar Empire, right? And the Starjammers are led by what's his
Corsair.
name? Corsair, which is Scott Summers' dad. Right. Scott and Alex Summers, which is Cyclops and Havoc's dad. So,
Alfonso, a lot of people don't know who the Shi'ar Empire is.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll get there. So there was for a while, Professor X had this whole like brain headache kind of thing going on, and he found out that there was a woman reaching to him from across the stars for help, and it turned out to be Lalandra Namani, and he finally met her and he helped out her empire. And she was like, you can come with me and you can live. We'll make you walk, but you have to stay with us. So they actually, I think they were married and stuff. It was really cool. But yeah, so he went, the X-Men went out in outer space, helped them out. But for a time, Binary is working with the Starjammers, and it's like then they would say Carol, and then I would read Carol Danvers. And at the time, I didn't have the whole picture because I'm like reading things spot here and there when I could pick things up or when I could find answers to things. And then like later on, Dukes asked me about this. It's like who's Binary, and like I'm like, man, I can't remember. So I looked it up on YouTube. I looked it up on TikTok, and I found some answers. I'm like, that's right. And I think they were saying it was the Brood that got him. And I'm like,
it was the Brood.
Yeah, they're not very sentient beings. They're like aliens, like the movie Aliens, where they go and they breed and they destroy. But I guess in that time they were a little smarter and they took her in and they like warped her powers and stuff to kind of put somebody on the inside. But yeah, so it was just another persona of Carol Danvers, because of course in the Marvel universe you actually have Captain Marvel, who was Marvel. He was an actual Kree who came to Earth. He was a hero. He got cancer. He died, and like something happened where he got shot with some kind of energy beam, and Carol Danvers was behind him. That filled her up with some kind of with that Kree energy, and she became Captain Marvel. And then you got the nega bands with friggin' Quasar and okay, I'm going too far. Never mind. Actually, wait. The nega bands were used by Captain Marvel for a while, and then later on, Quasar picked them up, and they had the power cosmic. And yeah, it's really interesting. I love the fact that I kind of called it. I don't remember if I said it in the podcast or not, but I'm like, yeah, there's two of them. Oh, those are the nega bands. They got to be the nega bands. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a part where she didn't have her bangle on, and she was still using her powers.
Right.
So like her powers are her mutant powers, and they didn't acknowledge that at all. I'm surprised nobody said anything about that. And she put it back on like nothing was going on. So that bangles was allowing her to travel back and forth in time, do other things like that. So and I like the fact that each of the Bengals had different set of powers. Like one was more for traveling, one was more for opening. It was really interesting. And then when they're put together, and the fact that actually when she put them together, where she was able to live in unison with those things, whereas the other the Kree bad guy, the main Kree bad guy, she put him on and she died. It was like when what's his name grabbed a hold of the Power Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy. It was the same thing. It was just like couldn't handle it. But for some reason, Miss Marvel could actually have both of them on. And then she gave one up. It's like at the end, she only had one. I was like, come on, man. You got to give back to her. Let her live out to her full potential. But we'll see. She's got growing up to do. When she gets old enough, when she turns 21, they'll give her
She gave one back? I don't even remember her giving one back.
I didn't see her give one back, but at the end, she only had one.
I don't know. Because I
was watching for that.
The bracelet was just there to help her. That's what made her mutant powers evolve or come out, I guess, is that. So that's what that is. I'm pretty sure she's going to have both of those bracelets because she's able to do it. And that's what's going to help them go through different realities, because she can tap that thing and open up a reality again. If you think about it, and she's not going to die. So she can open it up, if they're on Earth, and open it up the same thing and, and go into that whatever reality she wants. I think it's going to be something to that effect.
Well, when she gets a hold of America Chavez, between the two of them, they should be able to find Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen until closer to maybe Kang and the Avengers. I think it's going to be a while. I think they're building up to it. I don't think it's going to happen right away.
No, it won't be right away. They gotta let it fester for a little while.
And it all depends on Deadpool. Like, how's that gonna? Is that what's gonna kickstart it? And then from there, what do you do after that?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's gonna be the one to bring her back to the Marvel universe. He's like, hey, you don't belong here. What's up with that? Come on, going home.
Are either of you familiar with Avenger Prime? I just heard about him today.
I just heard about him.
Yeah, that's Loki.
Right. So
yeah.
To me, that seems like that's a good way to create Secret Wars. And I guess technically it's not like it's my idea to create Secret Wars, because he gathers Avengers from different realities.
Yeah.
So they're setting it up so well if you think about it. Because if he is at the center of all of the different realities, he can probably step outside of his body to see what's going on. He can still see all the Kangs, because as much as we're saying like one of the Kangs, like we're not going to use Jonathan Major anymore, it's like the Kangs still exist.
Right.
Therefore, the Kangs are still, like, they didn't say the Kang problem went away. They just said that He Who Remains was replaced by Loki, and that their mission was different now. So I feel like Avenger Prime, or just Loki in general, like they may not call him Avenger Prime, but I see that being the storyline that they go with more so than the standard Secret Wars.
And the other thing with Loki being outside of reality, he's also outside of time. So who's to say that the world tree that he created is not the world tree that Odin follows?
Well, did you hear also they're saying that, to your guys' point, um, Kang doesn't have to look like Jonathan Majors because they're saying Morbius is actually Odin and is a variant of Odin. So if you look at the older, one of his sons had a green bike, and he was always into trouble, causing trouble, burning stuff and stuff like that. And the older son is Thor. He had a red bike, and so he's always looking after his, looking after his brother. Hey, go take care of your brother. And then of course their mom had passed away, so they're saying that that's a variant of Odin, but just a different looking version.
Could be.
That's pretty awesome. I hadn't heard that theory, but I love that.
And there's so much they could make work. It's just a matter of making the having the proper writing and weaving it in properly, you know. And they could also make multiple stories work and just come at it from different angles, and that's where everything collides in the middle.
Yeah, I think with the way Loki ended and Captain Marvel, the end credits and the post credits, I think they're in a good place than they have been in a long time.
They gave us hope.
Yeah. So I mean, Phase 4 was so doo doo, dude. Like this movie is rewriting everything in Phase 4 because Phase 4 was so bad, So, but this is the first time. But is it too late to bring people back? I mean, it's good, but is it too late for people to
Yes.
be invested again?
It's not only not too late, it's the Marvel way, you know. Even in the comics, you know, people go away, they die. Look at Jean Grey. How many times does she die? You know, Captain America, how many times did he die? Sometimes he's Hydra, Captain Hydra and stuff. You know, there is so much that they can do. They can come back, backtrack, you know, redo it, slap it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no.
Alfonso, you're wrong. Number one for using that horrible rap line. But number two, people are done with Marvel. They're just done. I feel like no amount of I want to say they're done with superhero movies in general. And I think it's unfortunate. I feel like if you look at Blue Beetle, if you look at The Flash, if you look at Shazam, if you look at Captain Marvel, and you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, the only movie of those five or six that had any sort of notoriety or response from the general populace is Guardians. And when I thought about it, is Guardians a better movie than Captain Marvel? Yes, but I think I actually enjoyed Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, not Captain Marvel, the Marvels. I feel like I enjoy the Marvels just as much as I did Guardians of the Galaxy. But people are just done. Like, it's like, I feel like the general public doesn't look at Marvel any differently than DC. They're all the same. They're just all superhero movies. And it's been stinker after stinker after stinker. And Blue Beetle was a great movie. But people are like, I don't want to see it anymore because The Flash was a stinker. I don't want to watch Captain Marvel because Quantum Mania was hot garbage. And I was telling someone, I feel like people don't look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as a Marvel movie because they knew it was James Gunn's last movie. And whatever you saw in there was not going to be continued in the same way. So it wasn't even looked at as a Marvel movie, and they didn't look at it to get the continuity that you used to get out of Marvel movies. So, Alfonso, I love you. I love your positivity. Don't go around quoting rap songs anymore because you didn't know that cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar dollar bills, y'all. So we're done with that. But yeah, I can't agree with this one, man.
You should have seen me on the way back from Phoenix because I was like, I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I don't think so.
Awesome, awesome, man. You're just gonna keep it up though. It's like I got another rap song. I just Google searched.
No, no. I was big in the rap when it started. I lost it. Like lately, the newer stuff, and when I say newer stuff, I mean from 2000s on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like Alfonso, when it comes to like movies and songs, like he didn't actually listen to them or watch them, like with the entire Predator series, but he'll tell us he did. It's all good, bro. It's okay.
I gotta tell you, man, I surprise my wife sometimes with the amount of lyrics I have in the bank here. You know what I mean?
I have lyrics in the bank, but they're all wrong. Like I've just been making up my lyrics to songs for years. And then like I'll be watching something and they'll have the lyrics on the bottom and I'm like, "Oh, that's what they were saying." Okay.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I mean, we grew up. We didn't have the internet. If we were lucky, the lyrics were on the inside of the cassette wrapper. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's like we're like, um, I well, there's one R&B song. Um, it was like "Make Up to Break Up," and I was like, "Wake up, Jamaica." Oh, even the one song, "Despite All My Rage," I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Uh-huh.
The first month I heard that song, I'm like, dude, this is saying Spy Wolverine, and I'm still just a rat in a cage. I go, it makes so much sense. And I think at the same time, the Spy Wolverine X-Men '97 toy came out, so I was like, oh man, these guys are these are my guys now, Smashing Pumpkins, those
Yeah.
broken pumpkin guys.
I did the same thing for years, man. So I got to definitely take part in that as well. So yeah, Marvel. Joe, what do you think, man? Are people going to come back or are they done?
I think people are going to come back when Robert Downey Jr. is in some scenes. Like, hopefully he comes back and maybe I don't know how are they saving him for the very end of the last, like the Avengers movies for him to come back, or are they going to do it early? I think knowing that he comes back, Chris Evans, and if they get Scarlett Johansson to come back too, I think that's going to intrigue a lot of people that like that era of Marvel movies to come back and watch it.
I
I mean,
think you're right.
is Scarlett Johansson really necessary?
Oh
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes, she is.
She's an awesome actress.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Yelena's, in my opinion, better.
yeah, but no one gravitated to Yelena. I mean, she's dope. Don't get me wrong, I like her,
Yeah,
but she's not Scarlett Johansson. And what her character is done Black Widow.
right.
Even though she's a new Black Widow, like I think once those three died, they didn't have no backup plan. And whatever backup, do they even scratch Thunderbolts?
Yep.
So I mean, I think they realize whatever they're working is not. They exited, bro. I think Kevin Feige had a little cabin truck up in the woods. Said, "You know what, dude? Start over. What can we do? We need to clean it up." And
Yeah,
someone
they
probably raised their hand and said, "First, you could bring back the three: Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr., and Chris Evans."
Unite the three.
it's weird because like I heard that they did test screenings for New World Order, Captain America 4, and the screening results were so bad that they're reshooting like half of the movie.
Hmm.
And it's like I think they're just going too comedic and they're trying to I feel like with Captain America they're trying too hard to insert social issues. At least they did in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I feel like that's a problem because it's not subtle.
Yeah.
It's like what I experience is what I'm experiencing, but I don't need a monologue to be like, gentlemen, as a black man, I've experienced this, and
Hmm.
let me tell you how it affects all African Americans. It's just like you see it as it happens because you're watching me in my daily life, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So so I feel like that's something where I feel like Marvel at least maybe is figuring out like we don't need to have a social message in every like this movie. No social message. No social message. Let me say this, okay? And feel free to cancel me. You can hit stop right now. You can unsubscribe. You can send the Nerd World Order to all your greatest enemies. There was no gay movie in this character that had to stop, look at you dead in the screen, and go, by the way, I'm gay, and then continue on. Okay? Now, we all know that Valkyrie is gay. She came in. She didn't stop and say, oh, by the way, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, I'm gay, and then move on. But
Mhm.
we know she's a gay character, but
Mhm.
they didn't have to slap us in the face with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that, as much as I am a proponent of equality and progression for everybody, when you're slapped in the face with it, it's like you don't have to treat us like we're stupid, Marvel.
Right.
It
Mhm.
doesn't like, oh, Korg is gay. Korg is gay. What? What? But why do we need to know this?
He's a
Korg is
rock.
under.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like if they move away from that, bring back the new characters, stop making everything the Thor Love and Thunder comedy hour, they have a
Mhm.
chance of getting people back.
I think it's more so Disney than Marvel. I think it's Disney
Hmm.
doing all that stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they have a long toured history of being like exclusive. They exclude people for pretty much anything. So now they're trying to be like, oh no, we accept everybody. We accept everybody. And I'll let you know, as an overweight Hispanic male, I tacos for life.
Yeah, I think they just need to start forcing it. Like if it comes natural, I'm okay with it. Like I'm not opposed to like if you're gay, if you're lesbian, I'm okay. I don't care. But just don't force it in my with Valkyrie, it's so natural. You know what I mean? It's like you're it's not thrown in your face to your point. And I think Marvel needs to stop doing that with that political stuff. It just needs to be fun again. I think that's where they hit it right in this movie. The Marvels is it's just fun. And I think Marvel needs to go back to it just being fun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we need, is just, you're right, fun. Like, it's so weird because people are complaining about this movie, like, or they're just saying that, not so much complaints, but they're like, oh, this movie wasn't good. Like Eris Quinones over at what is he on? Variant. Eris Quinones over at Variant. Okay, Eris, this is one of the worst Marvel movies of all time. No, it's not, dude. Like, seriously, my bro. Like, no. Straw Hat Goofy. Oh, dude, there's so much wrong with this movie. No, no, there's not actually, dude. Like, I might have to unsubscribe to both of those dudes because they're complaining about something, acting like they haven't seen all the garbage that they showed up on the red carpet for,
Hmm.
smiling at actors' faces, acting like the
Hmm.
movie is good, trying to hype up Quantumania and then telling us this movie is bad. Bro, what? Because you're not getting paid anymore to say that? No,
Yeah. Yeah. I already unfollowed Straw Hat Goofy.
I know.
I'm like, you're whack, bro. You're I ain't gonna value your opinion if you turn on your I'm a boy King Lion. You know what I mean, dude? Shout out to Straw Hat Goofy and Aries. Come on, bro. Like he makes mistakes, bro. Like I didn't, like on the stuff that he says, I'm just like, bro, you don't even get any views. Let me swipe up.
Everybody has their opportunity to be wrong. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's like in this day and age, is if you want to critique a movie and stuff like that, is just I don't even think it's your honest opinion. Like we've given honest opinions whether we like it or we don't like it,
right,
and we debate on what we think is good and what we think is bad, and
right,
sometimes we like, what, maybe it is better than what I thought it was, but these guys are just doing it for click and bait.
right,
Like, let me just do a discussion. If I say this is bad,
right.
I'm gonna get some people to argue with me, and then I can get more views. And that's what everyone's just about, views nowadays.
And a lot of times it's easier for people to like just like crap on things and try to sound smart about it, and people, they want to fight with people about things,
Mhm.
and that's what they feel is good content. It's like, you don't have to do that. There's nothing wrong with liking something for what it is, and there's nothing wrong with somebody right next to you disagreeing about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your opinion's your opinion. You're gonna stand
Mhm.
by it no matter what. So like we don't apologize for anything we do. Sometimes we could have discussions, and sometimes our minds can be changed, but all in all, it's like we feel the way we feel, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, like it's it's clickbait, dude. It's like if people don't like Miss Marvel or Brie Larson,
Right.
why don't you say you hate this movie?
Mhm.
Then you're gonna get other people. You know what? You're right, man. This guy knows what he's talking about. I think the same way. Because isn't that what people follow? People like similar views, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And but you could also do the other way. You know, like a good debater that wants to ask questions would just take the other side. Because Alan used to do debate all the time, bro. Like, and he's good at it. So it's take when you're debating, you're like, all right, you're going to be the opposer, you're going to be the whatever the other one's called. I don't even know.
Pro and con.
You know what I mean? You're going to be for, you're going to be against. Go. And I think if you want to do clickbait, why don't you pick how you like this movie and then see the hate then you could talk about that. But you're afraid of losing followers. See, that's the thing. People don't say what they want to say because they're afraid of losing followers. Because if they say the wrong thing, Straw Hat Goofy, you're going to lose followers. And that's why I have no respect for you, Straw Hat Goofy. Matter of fact, take the Straw Hat of your name and just keep the Goofy because you're straight up goofy, homie.
Calling him out, Joe.
Yeah. I still like Straw Hat Goofy, but I have to agree with Joe on this one. His opinion is, and Joe puts it perfectly. You don't want to you don't want to upset your fan base, so you say something that you feel like your fans are going to say. But because you always have to be first to make that comment, or that
Right.
you don't realize your fan base actually likes this movie, which we do.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, if you're part of our fan base, which I'm sure you are because you're listening to this right now, one thing that we appreciate you would do is not treat us like Joe did Straw Hat Goofy and unsubscribe. What we'd like you to do is to tell your friends, family, and foes to listen to the Nerd World Order broadcast. And here's something else you can do. Whether you're listening on YouTube, I guess that'd be you're watching us on YouTube. Look at us, you're watching us right now. Or you're listening to us on whatever media like Spotify or like Apple Music or one of the other obscure podcasts. Go ahead and leave us a review. Click those 5 stars. Click that thumbs up. Because based on the things that everyone tells me, that makes the algorithms other people should also listen to the Nerd World Order broadcast. And then other people who don't know you will actually listen to the Nerd World Order broadcast. So yeah, click them thumbs, click those stars, leave us a review, say Alan and Alfonso and Joe are the greatest. We hate Straw Hat Goofy. You can put that in the comments as long as you click 5 stars. We don't care. So yeah, do that, ladies, gentlemen, and knights. Joe, because you are the man who went into this show, I thought you weren't going to like it. Why don't you take us out and give us your overall thoughts? Tell the Nerd World Order what your final thoughts are on this show movie.
My final thoughts are: if you want to have a great, entertaining movie that you could take your family to go watch, bam, it's there. If you want to have a good time at a movie that you haven't had a good time in a long time, bam, that's a movie for you. And if you just want to see a good family movie with emotion, heart, and where Marvel was going to go in the future, which they should, you need to watch this movie. So I would recommend anybody go watch this movie. I don't think you have to watch Secret Invasion. I don't think you have to watch Captain Marvel. I don't think you have to watch Miss Marvel. You can watch this movie without watching any of those. And hopefully if you go watch this movie, you'll fall in love with Miss Marvel and you go watch the TV show because the TV show was pretty good. So, I mean, if you're about family, fun, and entertainment, you should watch this movie.
And this concludes this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds Redefined. Booyah!